They auctioned 10 human girls, but they didn't know the human army was coming for them. The auction hall on the edge of the Zytherian expanse was a grand structure, glittering under artificial lights, its sleek black walls decorated with banners from across the stars, symbols of empires, syndicates, and privateers. It was not sanctioned by the Galactic Council. It operated in the shadows, beneath the radar, where the law didn't reach, and where morality was conveniently forgotten. The Zol'kra Syndicate ran the place, notorious across the sector for trafficking rare and exotic life forms. Tonight's lot, however, was different. Tonight, they had something that stirred even the most jaded buyers. A group of 10 human girls. Humans were not supposed to be on the auction block. They were protected by the concord of sapient species. But protection was only as strong as the will to enforce it, and in this distant, lawless sector, the concord's reach was as thin as a whisper. The girls, bound in containment fields, stood silently behind the transparent energy barrier. They ranged from young women in their early 20s to girls barely past adolescence. Their expressions varied, some terrified, some defiant. High Lord Kelvos, the Zol'kra official overseeing the auction, adjusted a ceremonial robe and addressed the crowd. His mandibles clicked together with satisfaction as the room buzzed with excitement. Wealthy nobles, criminal overlords, and slavers from across the stars had gathered for this unprecedented sale. Rare, untouched, and utterly exotic, Kelvos announced. 10 prime human females. Do not mistake their fragile appearance. This species, as many of you know, is bred from a death world. Their biology, resilience, and, how shall I put it, unique traits make them a most valuable acquisition. The crowd murmured, impressed. The bidding began. In the darkness of deep space, unnoticed by those indulging in their vile trade, a ship slipped through the black. It bore no transponder, no identification, but its sleek, angular design and gunmetal hull marked it as unmistakably human. It wasn't alone. 14 others shadowed it, running silent, weapons primed. This was not a diplomatic vessel. This was not a rescue craft. It was a hammer. The UNS Reaper, a top-tier Special Forces warship, led the formation. On board, Commander Adrian Cole stood before the assembled strike teams. His face was carved from stone, gray eyes hard, his voice steady as steel. They took 10 of ours, he began. 10 human girls. Children, sisters, daughters. They thought they could sell them like property. They thought we wouldn't come. He glanced at the hollow display, the auction hall layout, guard positions, external defenses. They were wrong. The room was silent. The soldiers, clad in matte black armor with no insignias, listened without a word. They weren't here to negotiate. They weren't here to issue warnings. Humanity had made its position clear over the decades. Touch our civilians, and we will find you. We go in quiet, Cole continued. Extract the girls. Minimal civilian casualties. But if anyone raises a weapon, his lips curled into something colder than a smile, we remind them why the galaxy fears humans. The ships broke from formation, cloaking fields shimmering, slipping through security perimeters as if they didn't exist. By the time the first defense satellite noticed something amiss, it was already too late. Inside the auction hall, bids soared. One of the girls, 18-year-old Rachel Summers, kept her chin high despite the knot of fear in her stomach. Her father had been in the military. She remembered his words clearly, never show them fear. You're human. Act like it. Even surrounded by predators, she held her defiance like a shield. A reptilian aristocrat raised a bid. Beside him, a bloated insectoid magnate sneered and outbid him. It was a grotesque display, a market of flesh. But Rachel's attention shifted to the ceiling vents. Something moved, silent, efficient. Her heart skipped. At that moment, the lights flickered. The hum of the containment field faltered. Kelvos's mandibles twitched in irritation. Technical difficulties. Remain calm. The far wall exploded inward. Smoke and fire poured into the hall as sleek, black-armored soldiers stormed through. Plasma rifles hummed. The music of war began. Panic erupted. Buyers screamed, scattering like insects. Guards raised weapons. But they never got a shot off. Precision fire lanced through them, dropping each one with surgical efficiency. Rachel's eyes widened as one of the human soldiers knelt before the containment barrier, swiftly deactivating it. His helmet retracted, revealing a young face, grim and focused. "Stay down," he ordered. "We're here to take you home." The other girls sobbed, relief and shock flooding them. Kelvos screeched, scrambling for the exit, but another soldier intercepted him. The butt of a rifle smashed into his face, shattering mandibles. He collapsed, groaning. From a control deck overlooking the auction hall, a Zol'kra security chief barked into a comlink. "Multiple hostiles, human military signatures. I want reinforcements now." His words died as a steel hand seized his throat. Commander Cole stood behind him, having breached the control room alone. The Zol'kra's eyes bulged in terror. "You shouldn't have touched them," Cole growled, lifting the alien effortlessly before slamming him against the console. The galaxy was warned. Below, the hall descended into chaos. More human operatives poured in, securing the perimeter, rounding up hostiles, and neutralizing resistance. From the Reaper's bridge, Lieutenant Maravos monitored the operation. "Extraction teams are secure. Civilians cleared. No casualties on our side. Status of the girls?" Cole's voice came over the comms. "All 10 accounted for. Safe." Outside, the auction facility's defense ships scrambled, but it was futile. Human warships decloaked, weapons hot. They fired only once, a warning shot that vaporized the largest cruiser in orbit. The remaining ships fled like cowards. On the ground, the surviving slavers' guards and buyers were corralled into a central chamber. Rachel and the other girls stood behind human lines, watching with wide eyes. The black-armored soldiers stood silent, weapons aimed. Cole entered, flanked by his operatives. His gaze swept the group, nobles, criminals, the scum of the stars. He addressed them, his voice carrying the weight of Earth's fury. "You thought you could take what's ours," he said. "You thought distance, power, and secrecy would protect you." His eyes narrowed. "You were wrong." A holographic emitter activated behind him, displaying the emblem of Earth, the blue sphere wreathed in olive branches, flanked by the words, "United Earth Military Command." "Consider this your first and final warning," Cole continued. "We do not tolerate the theft of our people. You may think humanity is young. You may think we're still finding our place in the stars." His voice dropped, colder now. "But understand this, we never forget. We never forgive." Several of the buyers whimpered. A few collapsed to their knees. "The next time when you lays a hand on a human civilian," Cole concluded, "we won't send a rescue team." He gestured to the facility's exterior, where gunships hovered like predators. "We'll send an army." With that, he turned. The soldiers secured their prisoners, uploading evidence of the auction to galactic authorities. It wouldn't matter if the Council tried to spin it or bury it. The message was clear. Hours later, as the human task force departed the Zytherian expanse, the 10 girls aboard the Reaper watched the stars slip past. Rachel sat beside Commander Cole, her voice quiet. "They didn't expect you to come," she said. Cole's expression softened just a fraction. "They always expect us to stay silent," he replied. "But we never do." Rachel smiled faintly. "Thank you." Cole nodded. "You're human. That means you're never alone." As the Reaper and its escort faded into the vast, dark sea of space, every system along the fringe received a message. It contained footage of the auction, the human military operation, and a simple, unmistakable declaration. "We warned you. Next time we bring war." And across the galaxy, those who trafficked in life, who believed Earth was still too small, too isolated to defend its own, began to understand a terrifying truth. Humanity wasn't weak. They were just patient, and their patience had limits.